Last night was the Oscars, and it was, not to bury the lead, the best Oscars they've had in years. I've seen a lot of the headlines reading that they decided to keep it simple, go back to basics. They did, and it was incredibly effective. Now, I still have some notes about how they still need to improve the show, but I thought last night was great. I thought they did a really, really good job of producing the show overall. And I know, did anybody else catch Jimmy Kimmel making the same comment I've been making for years? Nicole Kidman telling people, encouraging people to go to a movie theater that they're already sitting in. I'm like, you son of a bitch. He completely stole that joke from me. No, he didn't steal from me. But I was like, yeah, like everybody looked at me when he made that joke. It was great. The winners were great. The speeches were wonderful. The speeches were really, really good. I am still left to wonder how people who, if there's more than one of them that would accept, like if you're nominated and there's more than one of you, how do you not work out in advance? Now, remember, we have limited time. So if you're going to speak first in our acceptance speech, keep it short. Because I counted at least twice where the first person spoke and spoke and spoke and spoke. And then as the second person was stepping in to say a word, the music played and they cut the camera away from them. It's like, and I don't blame the Oscars for that. I blame the nominees. You got to have that shit worked out before you walk up on stage. So I always felt bad for the second guy. But the in memoriam was great. I also noticed that right away. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't noticed this before. Every year when there's an in memoriam, no matter how beautifully it's done, there will be complaints afterwards about how could you leave so-and-so off, or how could you leave so-and-so off? So did you notice that as soon as the in memoriam was done, the Oscars brought up a saying, to see a fuller honoring of all those we lost this year, please visit oscars.com/in memoriam or something like that. I thought that was a really smart move on their part. By the way, was William Hurt on there?
I don't remember.
It was, and was it this year?
When did he pass away? Because
did he pass away before last year's Oscars? I can't remember.
Check.
yeah, I feel like if he passed away this year, if it was January, or if it was
So I just couldn't remember. That's the only one that I kind of noticed, but it might have been the year before. Maybe it just still feels like yesterday that he died to me.
2022.
He died in 2022?
March 13th, 2022.
March.
So that would have been right before the Oscars, right? When was the exact date of anyway?
I think he was featured there.
Oh, was
that?
he featured last year?
Yeah, okay. So then
ceremony.
there you go. Then I didn't notice anybody, but for anybody that was, they had another thing all set up where people can go see. And I thought that was well done. All right. Look, there's no other way to put it. This will be the year remembered as Everything Everywhere All at Once's year. They did not sweep, but they won. What did they end up winning? 7 or 8?
7.
End up winning 7 Oscars last night. And what a night for these guys.
They're up there a lot.
Yes, they were. The Daniels, and I'll tell you what, I couldn't be bigger fans of these guys than I thought I couldn't be bigger fans than I saw the way they handle their acceptance speeches. And I'm like, you know what? I love these guys. These guys are great. I hope they're around. And how about their editor going, this is my second movie.
Yeah, I was a little bit, as an editor, I'm like,
Well, he did a great job.
Yeah.
So it was completely their year. A lot of things to talk about. So let's go down, shall we? The winners, and then maybe who got snubbed. I'll be honest, I'm going to tell you this right up front. I do not believe anybody got snubbed. Nobody got snubbed.
Uh-oh.
Because, yeah, I really don't. I think even in the categories, because I think I missed 2, but even in the categories that I missed, and somebody else won that other than what I picked, there was like, well, they were completely deserving too.
Dark Knight should have won.
Remember, snub. Remember, everybody misuses the word snub. Snub is not just, well, the person I thought should have won didn't win. It's like where it's so obvious that no rational person anywhere thinks that the person who won should have won. Like it has to be that extreme to pull out a word like snubbed.
Right.
Because snubbed implies like it's like the Academy just purposefully stuck it to you. Because there's no other explanation. There's no other explanation that somebody else went other than you, other than they were just deliberately trying to stick it to you. So I just think people throw the word snub around a little bit too lightly. But let's go through the results here, shall we? Best Picture. We're going to start with the big one. Now, personally, for me, Fabelmans was my favorite film of the year. But I did on the show the day before the Oscars, I did my final Oscar prediction show. I said, like everybody else said, Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win. And by the time they got to the best Oscar, the Best Picture Oscar, there was no drama left. They won Best Screenplay, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Directors. I mean, there would have been some explaining to do had it not won Best Picture if it won all those other awards. But Everything Everywhere All at Once caps off an absolutely dominating evening. Now, actress in a leading role, Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh ended up taking it home. There was still, the odds money was still on Cate Blanchett. And I think Cate Blanchett was the heavy favorite going into SAG. But once Michelle Yeoh won at SAG, and remember the day after, we all went, well, this muddies the waters a bit. Because if SAG gave it to Michelle Yeoh, she's got a serious chance. And sure enough, Michelle Yeoh ends up taking it, makes a beautiful speech at the end there. I absolutely loved it. And again, you could just feel the momentum at that point in the ceremony anyway. Best Actor in a Leading Role. Personally, I thought it should have been Colin Farrell, but I did call the day before. I mean, it was clear the momentum had been moving in Brendan Fraser's direction. And by the way, who's going to say Brendan Fraser did not deserve that Oscar? I mean, my pick was Colin Farrell, but Fraser and he might have given the speech of the night. There was such a realness in his speech because, I'm paraphrasing, but, I was riding high in this business and then I thought it was gone. And now here we are. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful, and I don't know, just all I could see, because when I was younger, I loved George of the Jungle. I don't care what anybody says. I love George of the Jungle. And I'm watching there. And what did Kimmel say? He goes, 2 guys from Encino Man have won Oscars tonight. 2 people from Encino Man. There's 2 people from Encino Man in that picture. Won Oscars tonight. I thought it was a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous speech. I loved it. All right. So yeah, I don't think there was any real big controversy over that. We get in Best Directors, the Kims. I would have personally given it to Steven Spielberg for Fabelmans, but what the Daniels did with Everything Everywhere All at Once is breathtakingly beautiful. They made a movie that felt outrageously original, yet heartwarmingly familiar all at the same time. And I don't know how they pulled that off, but they pulled it off, and kudos to them. Everything Everywhere All at Once wins Best Directors. Film Editing, Everything Everywhere All at Once takes it. I actually thought 1 or 2 others may slip in ahead of it, but the editing in it is fantastic. Again, Paul Rogers with that one comment of the night, guys, this is my second movie that I've ever edited, was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. So they win Best Editing. Music, Best Song. I'll tell you what, I am not a fan of RRR. I'm the only one. I'm not the only one who did not like RRR, but I'm the only one brave enough on a public platform to say I didn't like it. Everybody else is scared to death to say, but I'll tell you what, that song should have won.
Oh, it slaps.
That song should have won. And it might have been the highlight of the Oscars for me.
So fun.
That dance number and the acceptance speech and every moment that movie was being represented on the stage, I adored. I ate up. I honestly, I don't think I can remember a better dance number at the Academy Awards. That you could feel the fun, you could feel the energy in the thing, right? And it won, and it deserved to win, and it was great. So the song from RRR, Not To, ends up winning Best Song. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know I made the switch over to Mint Mobile a while ago. The process couldn't have been easier, and I can't believe that I am spending less than a third of what I was spending on one of the other major carriers before. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in minutes with eSIM. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door free, go to mintmobile.com
mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.
All right, best sound. Got the biggest eruption of cheers in my house last night. Went to Top Gun Maverick. Because
Should have been the Batman.
like you'd think Ray was there in the audience because when they announced Top Gun Maverick, and like a bunch of other people in the house too.
Come on.
And you know what? Well deserved. The sound in that movie is crazy, 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 crazy good. So, ladies and gentlemen, Top Gun Maverick is an Academy Award winning film. It is an Academy Award winning film. Well done to Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
All right. Best adapted screenplay. Some people said the other day I was crazy when I said that Women Talking was going to take it, but it did. Women Talking took home best adapted screenplay with, again, a really nice speech by Sarah Polley afterwards. Best original screenplay. Again, The Evening of Everything Everywhere All at Once took it home, written by the Daniels. So they won best picture, best director, and best writer. So good on them. They won that. Best visual effects. No surprise. This was the lock of the evening. I think the Vegas odds on Avatar winning was like plus 5,000.
You actually lost if you won.
You actually lost money. You just wrap your head around this. To win $100, if you went to Vegas and put down a bet, to win $100 and you're betting on Avatar, you would have had to have put up $5,000. You would have had to have risked $5,000 to win $100. But turns out it would have been a pretty safe
You would have made more
investment.
money in a treasury note.
Yeah. All right. Now let's go to the supporting. And this is the one that has gotten some controversial buzz. Best supporting actress in a leading role went to Jamie Lee Curtis. For a long time, I thought, I almost said Angelica Houston. For the longest time,
Angela
Bassett was, I thought, a lock to win it. But again, then came SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, the one all the actors actually vote on. And Jamie Lee Curtis won the SAG. And again, we said, oh, this muddies the waters a little bit. And listen, take nothing away. Jamie Lee Curtis's performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once is nutty. Like absolutely nutty good. I loved her character in that. And she had to play from when she was not possessed to being possessed and the different dimensions, versions of herself and all that kind of stuff. It was great. But I'll tell you what, well, I think Brendan Fraser had the best speech of the night. I think my favorite moment of any of the speeches was Jamie Lee Curtis when she was saying to all my genre fans, we won an Oscar. To all my, production family, we won an Oscar. But then she says at the end, and I almost broke up a little bit, when she said, to my mom and dad, who both were nominated for Oscars, I won an Oscar. I'm getting emotional right now just thinking about that. I'm getting totally emotional just thinking about it. I just thought that was beautiful and wonderful and all that kind of stuff. And then again, we got into Best Supporting Actor. This one ended up being a complete lock because there was no mixture of who would win and who would not win in this. But Ke Huy Quan won Best Supporting Actor. And I will tell you what, he's won a lot this season. But there was something about that speech that I was just kind of, I was tearing up. I was tearing up watching his acceptance speech. I mean, it's, when you look at that guy, but there's a theme here, both him and Brendan Fraser, right? Two actors who maybe younger in their careers, for him, much younger, but younger in their careers were kind of hot commodities. They were on a roll. And then all of a sudden their careers were gone and probably never dreamed a day was coming that they would be standing on stage at the Academy Awards accepting Oscars. And I got legit emotional watching this dude talk about that. I was thrilled to see him do that. So, and then of course, Best Animated Feature, it went to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which again, I would have given it to Turning Red. And then I would have given it to Puss in Boots. And then I would have given it to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. But it was clear it was going to win. It was absolutely clear. Everybody knew it was going to win. And sure enough, it did win. And Guillermo del Toro had some great words too about animation and the state of animation, and animation is cinema and all that kind of stuff. And that was wonderful as well. So those are the bigger categories. Chris, I mean, obviously none of us had every single one that we wanted to win. Are there any in here that particularly stand out to you that you thought, I'm surprised this one went that way?
I mean, I just want to bring up that I am 2 for 2 for Best Picture locks. Thank you. She remains undefeated
There you
on
go.
this panel.
You trying to start something up?
I'm always trying to start something. So we started our Oscar party off on a rough note because they opened with animation and Puss in Boots lost, and I thought Taylor was going to flip a table.
I drink so much.
It was so hard to see. But the one that really stood out for me was Jamie Lee Curtis. I think Stephanie Hsu is so incredible in that film. And for someone in that movie to win Best Supporting, I would have given it to her. And I really thought that Angela Bassett was a lock for that too. I also want to address people are saying Angela Bassett reacted poorly. She was upset she didn't win. How would you act in that moment? Why do people want her to be so performative?
I love it. Love it. When people who not only have never been in that situation, will never be in that situation. And listen, she was, even though Jamie Lee Curtis's odds got a lot closer after she won SAG, right? She was still the odds-on favorite to win. And when the name listen, you don't judge somebody by their initial facial expression the moment they just found out their dreams have been dashed.
Especially when they're told they're the lock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you saw Riseborough, right? Mm-hmm. Like she instantly jumped to her feet and applauded and
She's
stuff like that.
relieved
That's
in a way.
because she never thought in 1,000 years she was going to win, right? So, but Angela, she was the front runner, and she just found out that this pinnacle of her career, which is walking on stage to accept an Oscar, that she thought she had was the probability to get it. In that instant millisecond, didn't get it. Fuck you. Everybody's like, she didn't handle it right.
Yeah.
It was the moment she found out and her face didn't do something.
She wasn't
Let it
performative
go.
for people. And
Yeah,
I think
let
that's
it
what
go.
I have
Now,
an issue with.
if she
Diane
came
Warren
out-
didn't clap when she lost.
Look, if she
No one's
came
yelling
out
at her.
to the mic afterwards, if Angela came out and pulled a Kanye, it's like, hey, I'm happy for you, Jamie, but I was the best performance of the
Yeah.
year. If she had done that, then maybe. But yeah, I think it's ridiculous.
I just think people's reaction is so ridiculous. And again, because we aren't coming for anyone else who behaved that way. So I'm not sure why we're doing it to Angela Bassett.
You know, the one and only time, and it actually happened tonight, where I thought, wow, someone didn't win and they're actually happy for the other person, was when Steven Spielberg didn't win Best Movie. And he was up there like, oh, it's Harrison and Key. Like, you saw him get excited.
He was so happy.
Yeah, Steven's got his Oscars.
Like, he
He's
didn't
already
care.
known as the
He's
greatest
like,
of all
I don't need
time.
it.
But I think by the time the Oscars came, like I think a month or two ago, maybe 2.5 months ago, it looked like Fabelmans was a serious contender. But in the last couple of months, I think it became pretty clear, even though it was still my number one pick, I think it became pretty clear the last couple of months that Fabelmans was not going to win Best Picture and Steven was not going to win Best Director. And I think, listen, he's been through this rodeo many, many, many times. So it's like, I don't think it affected him.
Did you see the shot of Big Daddy?
Big Daddy.
Your Big Daddy.
Oh,
Big Daddy
Iger.
Did
Big
you see
Papa
it?
Iger being
Front
there?
and center? Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no, because I was watching the monologue because I missed it because I came late. But during sometime during the monologue, they showed Iger, and I was
Yep,
like, "Oh,
so
front
Big
and center, right there."
Got to put the most powerful person in Hollywood front and center, I suppose, at some point. I'm surprised Kimmel didn't. Well, I guess he's Kimmel's boss. So I guess that's why I didn't go after him.
He's not gonna touch that.
Anyway, so you thought that it was going to go to Angela. So.
I did, yeah. That was really the only one that I went, oh, okay. But I mean, great speech from Jamie Lee Curtis. Obviously, these were all really wonderful performances. It's just that was one where I went, oh, I didn't put that on my ballot correctly.
What about Michelle Yeoh winning for Best Actress over Cate Blanchett? Because Cate Blanchett, again, up until SAG, this award season had been Cate Blanchett's award season. She had been kind of sweeping it up and gathering them up, and then came SAG and it went to Michelle Yeoh. What did you think about that?
I thought that was well deserved. I've been a lock for Michelle Yeoh from day one. I love her in this film. I think she's incredible. And Cate Blanchett is great in Tar. That is a fantastic performance. Really, really well-deserved nomination. But she knocked it out of the park. She was wonderful. We all were screaming and chanting in our house. So I was just over the moon for her to win. I love this movie so much.
What was her line? She said a line that to all the women out there
I've been told they're past their prime.
who've been told you're past your prime, I'm like, damn right.
Well, I
Damn
mean,
right.
it's a big thing in actor circles, right? Where you get to the point of all my roles are just going to be somebody's wife or somebody's mom. And that's it. That's the most interesting I get to be is of service to a story in that way. And one of the things that your agents will tell you too is like, oh, we got to really try to hold off on getting you in mom age, right? So like, this is something that actresses hear constantly. So I love that she brought this up. And just for people in general too, right? You're never past your prime. You can still do amazing things later in life.
You know what the funny thing is? She played both a mom and a wife
I know.
in a role that ends up winning the
Being-
highest honor in the industry.
Well, and being such a really interesting look at it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's just this tertiary thing of, oh, I'm here to just like support this person or hold a baby while like the husband is like going through his emotional trauma. We're like, but the baby, like that's usually the kind of like bullshit
That was
we
great.
get.
That
Oh my
was
gosh.
great acting.
You know, I
I thought there was a
want to
baby
thank
here
my
that was in
mom.
trouble.
I want to thank God. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, so there's the awards. By the way, another big winner of the evening, the one at the end, it was by the time they got to Best Picture, it was a foregone conclusion. It was gonna be Everything Everywhere All at Once. But at that point in the evening, I thought, at the beginning of the evening, if any film had a chance to beat it, it was Banshees of Inisherin. By the time they got to the final award, that had changed to if any other film is going to beat Everything Everywhere All at Once, and nothing is, but if one did, it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. What is
I don't remember, but I'll get it.
Bum,
Yeah.
I forgot.
that was
Yeah,
the
that's
theme
the
of the
song.
evening. That was the theme of the night. How many times? Like that one,
It won
3,
way more than I
4?
thought.
Yeah.
It won a bunch.
Yeah, every time it went up for any award, I was like, it better win. I need to hear that theme.
I hear that theme music again.
And I should watch the movie sometime.
So I actually thought it would have had some kind of chance about that, but
It
yeah.
kind of got to like at the end of like a World Series or a Super Bowl where you kind of just know at this point now you're heartbroken, your team just isn't going to win, and the crowd starts to just kind of
Yeah.
peter
It's
out.
27-0
Yeah,
with
they're
2
like,
minutes left in the
we
game.
already know who's winning this one.
Yeah, and it was all, but you know what? What was it? 10 and a half months. I went saying, this is my favorite movie of the year, everybody.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. And now Fableman's replaced it. Fableman's ended up being my number one personal favorite film of the year, but Everything Everywhere All at Once ended up being my second. God, I love that movie. I still remember the first time Ann and I watched it, and I was just so blown away because, again, the sheer originality of it, but the overwhelming warmth of the familiarity of it. It's just on every level, it was so beautiful and fantastic. And God, it's the year. It's the year of Everything Over All at Once.